Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kate and I love all things makeup, beauty, skincare, and fun. Today we are going to be playing with the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Fall Romance palette. This retails for $55, so that like mid-range, higher end price point. If you are interested in this video or this type of content, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel down below. And without any further ado, let's go. Okay, so I did get this in the mail sometime last week and I just have not had a chance to dive into it, and I wanted to be able to do it on camera. So this is what it looks like. So it is that like soft velvet packaging that Anastasia is known for. That being said though, the texture is a little bit different than in previous palettes. And then it has a protective sheet. And then this is what the palette looks like. I will say it's a little bit more muted, I feel like, than some of the promo pictures that I saw. That being said, I'm not upset necessarily by that. It's very neutral in my opinion. If you take away literally these two purples and then maybe these greens, but even these for me feel very neutral leaning. Regardless, I love Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have for a long time. I never really got onto the Norvina palette train. That just like wasn't really my journey. Those are also like 60 something dollars. But like the classic Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes, I've had really great luck with. I still have, I think, all of mine, honestly. So I am excited to play with this today. I did already go ahead and prime my eyes using my P. Louise base. So let me grab some brushes and we will get right into it. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is take this shade right here. This is called Ember, and put that throughout the crease. I am having a little bit of a harder time like making up my mind on what I want to do for an eye look. What I do know for certain is that I want to play with these purples, but I also want to play with the greens. Of course, purple and green are nowhere near each other on the color wheel, so I want to make sure things don't get muddy, but for now I think we'll just go into Ember on the crease, and I'm just going to use my Sonia G brush. This is the Blender Pro, and we will go right in and see where this takes us. So it does blend out really nicely. I will say there is a lot of kick up in the pan. I'm going back in with that same shade and just trying to build the depth just a bit without going overboard, which it's kind of looking like I went overboard, but that's okay. We will make it work. Anastasia Beverly Hills shadows, in my experience, are pretty loosely pressed. That being said, they do thankfully give a nice amount of pigment, but that also being said, if you are someone that really is not looking for a more intense eye look, it can certainly get intense really fast. For instance, right now it's a little darker honestly than I initially wanted, and part of that is that I went in twice with two very gentle dips. The good news with that, of course, is that these palettes do last quite a while because you get a decent amount of shadow and you get a shadow that goes a long way, but it can just be kind of tricky if you are not going for a more intense look. I would just err on the side of caution. Definitely tap your brush off. I'm just going in with some loose powder to try to soften the edges because those were a little much. I'm gonna go in now with this shade here called Thorns, and I'm just using a brush that came with an Urban Decay palette at some point in my life, And we're gonna just put that on the inner and outer parts of the eye, blending it into that darker shade, blending it, taking it up a bit just because I do have hooded eyes. So if I don't take my shadows a little higher, you will not see them. They will get lost in the sauce. Alright, so this is where we're at. I'm gonna, of course, clean everything up in a bit. I'm just trying to like map out what I want for an eye look at the moment. I think we're gonna try to deepen that up a little bit using this shade down here called Twilight, and just kind of see if that indeed does do any deepening. It does, definitely does. However, so it definitely deepens it up, but it borders the line between green and black. So there's that to be considered. So I'm not going to put that shade on the inner part of our eye because I think we'll really lose the look, but I am going to put it on this outer corner so that it matches. And I apologize if you can hear my dog snoring. She's apparently very tired from her long rough day of doing who knows what. Now we are going to finally go into this bright purple shade. This is the shade I'm the most excited about in this palette. I'm just going to use my finger, honestly, because I don't have a brush clean at the moment that would be most appropriate. And just lay that down in the center. All right, I'm gonna do the rest of my base makeup. Right now, I'm not really sure how I'm feeling. I think where right now I'm at is that the greens, Thorns, the lighter of the two greens, is still a pretty deep green. And I think my biggest mistake was using Ember in the crease because I just kind of feel like it's like very dark. That being said, I think maybe if I do the rest of my base, it won't feel quite so intense. So I'm going to do that, and then we will be back. We'll do the lower lash line, I'll do some swatches, and we will talk about it. Okay, so I'm back. My makeup is applied. My blush is a little bit more punchy, especially on this side, than I wanted it to be. I tried out this one by Blend Bunny. This is their Juicy Cheeks face palette, and I went in with these two shades right here called Plump and Sticky Sweet. I forgot to tap my brush off on this side, so I apologize if it's a little wonky. At any rate, I do think the eyes look less insane with my full face on. That being said, they're still a little darker, I think, than I really wanted them to be. But that's okay. We're going to make do. I do want to go in with this really light purple shade right here called Moonlight. So I'm just going to use this little Morphe E36 brush and pop that on the inner corner. This feels and looks like, yeah, it's more of a topper shade. So I think honestly, one of the promo photos, and I think Michaela over on TikTok recreated it, really heavily focused on the Divine shade, the shade that's like right in my center. And it was beautiful. It was super, super pretty. In hindsight, maybe I should have tried to recreate that look, because I think the colors just got lost in the sauce. So part of this, I think, is indeed my fault for trying to do too many colors and trying to, I don't know, make something happen, trying to make fetch happen, and that obviously did not happen. I'm gonna pop on some mascara. For mascara, I'm gonna use my Pat McGrath Labs Dark Star mascara, and then I'm gonna pop some eyeliner on. I'll be back to do the lower lash line. For the lower lash line, I'm gonna go back in with Thorns and just kind of see how that actually, yeah, I guess Yeah, we'll do Thorns. Kind of see how that looks. I would sometimes with mossy greens under the eyes, it can look a little bit like Swamp Creature. So I was a little nervous for that, but we're good. I think this look would benefit from some lashes, but I'm not really feeling lashes today, so we're not going to do that. We are going to do lips though. I think that might help the situation. So I'm just going to go in with my Color Pop BFF liner, which is like on her last leg here. And then for lipstick, I'm going to go in with this one by Charlotte Tilbury. It is the Kim KW. I think a soft lip was needed. I'm still like not loving the fact that that I applied that blush poorly. That was silly. But okay, so this is the final look. It's not my favorite. I'm going to be perfectly transparent. It's not my favorite. That being said, some of this is absolutely user error. I tried to get too crazy with the colors, and I just like I had a vision in my head that I was not able to quite bring to life, which is fine. Like that happens, right? And I think it's helpful for me anyways when content creators are transparent with that. I will say the color story it's beautiful to look at. And in all actuality, I think what is probably for me just a little bit tricky is that for transition shades, there's really only this one that works super well for my skin tone. That being said, I do want to preface, I understand not all makeup is going to be made for my skin tone. So somebody who is a shade lighter, or excuse me, a shade darker than mayonnaise is probably not going to have the same feedback, right? However, for me, Patty Mayonnaise over here, it is a little bit tricky because there's no transition shade that is lighter than this one right here called Leather. Today we played, of course, with Ember, which I think had I not gone in a second time, I might have been able to make that work. Anastasia, historically, her formulas are quite pigmented, so that was probably my error as well, right? I wasn't like more careful with it. But is it my favorite Anastasia palette? No, it's absolutely not. It is not. Do I like the palette? Yes. Yes, I do. I think, honestly, next time, if I'm playing with these purples, I might instead try to play with crimson down here as like the matte to kind of give it some depth. I think using the greens was a misstep on my part. I will say this Twilight shade, it looks in the pan and on camera, it looks like it's going to be a dark green, and it is dark, but it's like borderline, it's bordering black. So maybe I would have had, if I was creating this palette, which why would I be, but you know, just humor me here. I would have created more of a difference between these two greens, because even this lighter green is still pretty deep in comparison to like what it could have been. It could have been like a mossy green, and it's like a almost forest green. So I'm not mad at it. I'm happy to have it in my collection. Would I buy it again? You know, I think I would. I think I would still buy it again. I did actually get a 10%. I bought this on Anastasia's website because I bought it before it had launched on Sephora and Ulta. So I did use a 10% off coupon. So that like makes me feel a little bit better about it. And that being said, I do think I would buy it again because I think today's look was a miss, but I think I will be able to use this in a more intelligent way in the future. So those are my thoughts. I'm gonna do some swatching now. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do some swatches with this palette. So the first one we have is Smoke, and then there's Moonlight. This one's a really pretty topper shade. Fireside, also very pretty, but not a topper. That's definitely has more pigment to it. Divine, which I'm wearing on my eyes today. Crown. Oh, that one's really pretty. It's like kind of shifty. I'll show you, of course, in just a moment. And then finally Ember, which I also have on my eyes today. So that is the first row swatched. This one, Crown, it's pulling very yellow on camera, but it has like a pinky mauve-y shift to it. I don't think my camera is doing it justice, but beautiful. The second row is a little bit more matte heavy, so it starts off with this really cool toned matte shade called Leather, and then we go into Thorns. Next is Crimson. Crimson's a little trickier to swatch. It also feels a little bit drier than the others. Next is Midnight. Oh, that's really pretty. Dark, but pretty. Hence the name, I suppose. Mulberry, also really beautiful. And then last but not least, we have Twilight. So that is the bottom row swatched. This is Crimson. You can kind of see it gave me a little bit of guff swatching it. That being said, swatches are not a great indicator of how a shadow is going to perform on your eyes. So I would take that with a grain of salt. I just wanted to do this for science. For science. Beauty and the Beaker will appreciate that. So that is the palette all swatched out. And now we will get back to our regularly scheduled programming. So those are my final thoughts regarding the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Fall Romance palette. Please comment down below if you picked this palette up, have you played with it, and what are your thoughts? Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would love it so much if you would subscribe to my channel down below. And as always, please stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.